whatever you're trying to go for, man, you can do anything in this world, man. I believe you can do anything with Christ, bro. But you can do anything in this world if you really put your mind to it and you forget about how long it's taking you. You know what I'm saying? Forget about time because you got a lot of time. If you're in your 20s, it may not feel like it because the world make you feel like it isn't, but you got a lot of time. You got a lot of time, bro. A lot of your famous designers, everybody wear designer clothes now. A lot of them didn't even get their break until they were in their 50s. Like it's crazy. You got a lot of time. So just be encouraged, man. Just, keep positive people around you and you will reach wherever you're trying to go.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show. And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, this is me, your host, Calvin Lowe with the Logan Power Show. Nationwide, worldwide, I'm enjoying myself in the 2024 where things are moving on up and we are expounding on new adventures, new ideas, and new guests. I got with me a young man. He is an artist, he is a producer, he's a newlywed, and he is doing some big things, starting off small, but now he's grown and somebody who has a powerful voice throughout the industry. The very own, let's give it up for Mr. KRich. What's going on,
Wow.
sir?
Yes, sir. I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, I want to get, I guess, to the real, some of the nitty gritty that people don't understand. What are some You're in three different entities, three different levels of life. So I'm trying to figure out for you, when did you know that this particular part of your life, like being an artist, being a producer, was an actual avenue that's gonna create success? Cause I know a lot of people say, like, I'm gonna be an artist, I'm gonna be a producer, I'm gonna be big in the industry, but the reality is not the case. People
Yes,
have
sir.
big dreams, but pitfalls come into play, but they don't plan and prepare. So can you give us some steps that sort of helped you become the successful person you are today?
Um, One was to start, just figuring out the actual the process along. Like, I was like, okay, I want to record. Okay, what do I need to record? And I started looking up on YouTube and really just gathering information to start. Um, Something that I went through a long process though because I didn't have somebody to guide me on, hey, you should invest in your own studio equipment. You shouldn't pay for studio time because you don't know how to record yourself yet. Like, all those things I had to learn over the years of just like being a creative. But to help others understand it, the first thing you should do is gather as much information about what you're trying to do as you can, and which that's what I did. Gathered as much information as I could, and then I realized how expensive it was, and started understanding that it was more of a marathon and not a quick little run to the gas station, you know. So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, this is going to take a lot more time and there's a lot more effort into every single situation. So if I can master my craft, I can start to see, success from it. And it's a it's a uphill battle. But first you have to understand that really you only have to get it right once. So when I started to see success was, I went from making my own beats and like nobody wanted to get on my beats to like now I'm getting like 250 emails like a day of somebody asking me for a beat because of the repetition and the time that I put into it. It's just like somebody wanting to be an athlete or somebody wanting to be a writer. It's so much repetition in the gym, and practice. But I feel like I'm getting a little off of the question. But could you reiterate the question for me?
Sure. I know for you, you're in the music industry, you're an artist and you're a producer, so you're doing two different type of realms where
Yes, sir.
you're the one in front of the camera and you're one the behind the camera. You
Yes, sir.
mentioned some things in regards to you said to yourself that you realize that if you're going to get into this industry, you got to literally buy your equipment instead of going to pay studio time. Now that's sort of like a different type of strategy because you hear people all the time where if you want to be successful, you got to be, you got to pretty much get yourself to where you are literally um in the studio. You always said like, man, if you want to be successful, you got to be in the studio. But your philosophy is the saying where you got to get it right just one time, and you hear
Yes,
people
sir.
work on the craft. So for you, how long did it take for you to get that one time so that you are getting these massive emails? How long did it take? I know people don't understand the process, and you mentioned it's a marathon and not a sprint. So how long did
Yes,
it
sir.
take before you finally got your actual first opportunity? Big one.
It took me about 6 or 7 years, I'd say. And that's because I was going about it like really wrong. I was going about everything. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm trying to get in the apartment and everything so I can sit down and actually focus. But basically, and I'm super out of breath because I just went up 3 flights of stairs. Lord. My apologies to
No
everyone
problem.
watching. Okay. Lord. All right. So, sorry. What was the question again? Please remind me.
Sure, no problem. You mentioned, for instance, that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And then you mentioned to us that it only takes one time
Yes,
to
sir.
for your real takeoff. So for you were getting to elaborate, it took almost 6 to 7 years to get to where you get. So can you give to us like sort of a how did that come about? 'Cause I know a lot of times people say, well, all of a sudden I went from zero to hero, but they don't talk about what the hero uh true breakthrough was for you? What was the particular beat or the success or the
Okay.
song that really took you to who you are that people now have to give you the actual respect and the respect is due?
Yes, sir. So, literally, this happened last year. So, I got this urge to go on Twitter. Don't know why. And I logged in, and like I always do, I just was commenting on, also you got to learn your social media, like actual like warm up. So like understanding that before you post something, you should be on social media at least 5 minutes in. You should be commenting. Um, you should be like being engaging on the actual app. It'll help your chances with the algorithm because there's so many different algorithms in each, social media platform. So I was just kind of like commenting and stuff like that. And I saw Sony Digital, this really big producer. A lot of people know him. He was just like, artists aren't hungry anymore and everything sounds the same. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna post something that I made literally like 4 years ago. And I went to sleep and I woke up and it had like 60,000 views on it. And it was just climbing. It was climbing. And that literally was just repetition from like every day, just posting something or like actually having so much traction to the point where like I may have posted 150 times in 2 weeks and now the algorithm is picking it up. So it was from the repetition of actually doing something. And even though I wasn't seeing results, expecting it, you know? So it was this beat I made. Like, I mean, honestly, like to me, the beat wasn't all that anymore because it was so old, but everybody else was just freaking out about it. And then I went crazy on Twitter. And everybody, I was like, okay, I gotta take advantage of this time slot because I don't know how long I'm gonna have the attention. I got everybody's emails and Instagrams, and then just transferred it over. So started going kind of like crazy like that, and I just got a lot of traction from it. Then I got connected to this band called Dead Cassettes, and they're signed to Interscope right now. But I originally got connected to them from a whole process in high school following this girl named Cody Shane, who's a really incredible artist from Atlanta. And I literally was following like Lil Yachty and the Sailing Team and all of those guys. And I was trying to figure out how to work my way into the industry, but also not trying to use them, but actually trying to be friends with them. So that is connecting. It's going to connect all together. But with the Dead Cassettes guys, I've been literally following them and commenting and DMing them for like 4 or 5 years. And then the opportunity came where they needed a drummer and they were going on tour with I believe it was um Will Smith's daughter. I forgot her name. But they was like, we need a drummer, and how fast can you get to Atlanta? So to bring it all together, the point of how it happened wasn't necessarily just because of the product, but the repetition of the product.
Got
So I continuously put myself out there and put myself in front of everyone, even though I may have gotten no likes, even though I may have gotten one like or one comment, because I knew that the more I put myself out there, the better my chances were. So it's all about like the marathon. Like it's about continuously, consistently, even when you don't feel like doing it anyway. So that's how the opportunity came, which was the beat that I did. Sony Digital picked it up. A guy named Rob Stone followed me, and Jetson made it. Really incredible producer from South Carolina, but he's known from North Carolina because of the baby. But that's how all of that stuff happened. And now it's just been crazy and trying to like build up enough content to do it again, you know.
Okay. And then for yourself, since you are a producer, you're making the music, now you're an artist as well. How are you able to sort of juggle yourself and trying to sort of capitalize off of the hit, off the beat that you made and making music and then
Yes, sir.
falling in love with the music? I know a lot of times there are people who can transition. They can make music and they can do artistry very well. How are you able to hone both particular entities without allowing one to sort of not negate the other? I know a lot of times people say, well, I'm an artist, I'm a producer, but honestly, they're a producer. They just make music. They may say they are artists, but they really are a producer based off how they come across. They're always making the track, they're always making the beat, they're always behind the scenes. They're not in front of the camera. When did you say I'm gonna do both? When did you say to yourself, you know what, I can do both and I can master both?
That started when I first started making music in my group, because I'm in a group called KCMJ, and we started like when we were in high school, our senior year of high school, and it was one of my really good friends. He had like all the cloud. He had a song with like 60,000 plays. His name was Dova. He passed away a couple years ago. But he kind of inspired me to like rap, because he was rapping and he was kind of like engineering himself, and it sounded really really good. So I was like, man, and then I heard about Speaker Knockers, and Speaker Knockers was like um a really big like inspiration for me, because he could do both. And then I started, because really I didn't really start listening to hip hop until high school, because I grew up in the church, so everything was gospel. You know what I'm saying? So around 2017, I heard Speaker Knockers. I was a big Kanye West and Pharrell fan, and all of those producers have something in common. They make beats and they can rap. So I was like, well, maybe I could do that, And originally, I've been a musician my whole life. I'm a drum set player, but I always could sing and stuff like that. So I started writing like when I was younger, but bringing it up to this time where I was like, maybe I should I should rap, maybe I should rap and produce, or maybe I should sing and produce. I started diving in it around 2017, and to keep kind of like keeping your sword sharp is like being in the moment uh of each entity within itself. So kind of like as the producer, when you're making that beat, you can have ideas to rap, but don't necessarily act on them all the time. Sometimes just be in the moment of the production. And when you're in the moment of the production and when it's finished, then you go into artist mode. So it's like understanding how to separate the two and knowing when to react. Sometimes you're in a situation where you're producing and it's like, okay, this is crazy. I need to do this now. But always trying to find time for the difference, and making the difference. So that's what keeps it together, or keeps it, easy to separate. But yeah, man, it's a crazy experience. Coming straight off work, um, just now being in my apartment and just thinking about it, like, um, the apartment that me and my wife got, and a lot of this is from just hard work of just like wanting something so badly, you got to keep the hunger even when it seems like it's never going to happen.
Okay. I think that this here, what I'm trying to, it's great to hear your testimony that you mentioned that it takes a process, and through the process, you had to get to the right connections. Now, I know a lot of people always say, I want to be great, I want to be phenomenal, I want to be on top of the hill, I want to be the one holding the mic. Now you did the Soul Boy documentary that's currently that was you in that project, and that's coming out for you. Did you ever do you now, since you are an artist plus a producer, definitely a newlywed as well,
Yeah.
what are some, I guess, when somebody says I want to get into certain industries, especially in your industry, you mentioned the hunger, you mentioned that kind of, how hungry do they have to be? Is it like, for instance, endless nights of sleep? Is it like, I gotta have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for like 6 months because I gotta get it right? Because you mentioned about I'm paying for equipment, and equipment's not is not cheap. And
At
that's one
all.
of the investment in you should always be something that you look forward first. So hindsight 2020, if someone said I want to become this, I want to get into this industry, um, what is, I guess, some actual figures they would have to spend if they say, hey, I want to buy my own equipment, I want to, test and trial instead of going to the studio? Because you mentioned I can't just all of a sudden I want to go in the studio, but I don't know, have a clue what I'm going to come across with. So, in your humble opinion, what are some things, I guess, people, I guess, an investment or sort of like an initial cost they would have to look into if
Okay.
they want to get into this industry?
So realistically, you're never going to understand or know exactly how much it's going to cost. It's almost like an endless infinity pool of money like you have to put in. But to get you started, one, I'm gonna put everybody on Facebook Marketplace is like literally a gold mine because there's a lot of people that have the same ambition, but they lost the drive at the same time. And they're thinking right now instead of future, and they give up on their dreams, and they give away equipment, like brand new equipment sometimes. Like, and of course you gotta be careful, this is a crazy world that we live in. But the majority of the time, I mean, because like I tell all my friends, like even there's people that come up to me and ask me that. Like I tell them, like, yo, if you get me $500, like I can get you everything you need, like, and then some, really. So Facebook Marketplace is a tool, man, because really all you need is a interface. I go for if you want really good quality, but you don't really have that much money, I would say a Focusrite interface. And also uh depending on your voice, it depends on mics, but if you don't really have a budget, a large diaphragm mic, a XLR mic that goes into the interface. And honestly, any type of laptop you can get your hands on. I use FL. So just taking you step by step to like the process, you can get a laptop, you get FL Studio. For $500, you can get speakers, you can get headphones. On Facebook Marketplace and literally be ready to go. And then I would tell them like, okay, now to learn how to actually record, I'll take them straight to YouTube and I'll be like, look up BusyWorks Beats. And this is really, really incredible guy that's like really, he's produced like number one hit records, but he has a really close niche with the people on YouTube, and he's always giving out free games. So like you can literally go to his very first video on YouTube and shows you how to record, shows you how to navigate through the DAWs and how to mix and all of these things. This is stuff that I had to learn through trial and error 4 or 5 years later. You know what I'm saying? Because one, you want to know how to record yourself. You don't necessarily have to know how to mix, because really mixing is kind of like uh it's kind of like a trial and error thing. Mixing is a whole different entity. But to get you started off is about $500. And then when it comes to promotion and stuff like that, it can get really tricky and really expensive. Your best bet is to start from the ground up and promote yourself. And how you promote yourself, you can do YouTube ads. You can do YouTube ads, you can do Instagram ads, you can do TikTok ads. All of that stuff adds up, and go for consistency instead of like the quantity. Because a lot of people are like, okay, I'm gonna put $1,000 into this, but you don't even really know what the people are responding to yet. So you have to find out what they're responding to. And then once you find, if you got a video, so for instance, when I mean responding, if you got a video that's, you're on TikTok and you post 20 videos, and um, one of the videos is 1,000 views, but the rest of them are 150. You got to look at, okay, why did that one go to 1,000, but the rest of them were 150? And once you figure out why, do it again. And if it happens again or it's more, then that's the style of, that's the niche that you should be doing for social media. And then you decide to put money, you begin to put money behind that. And you could put from $20 to $500. For me, I say be consistent. So if you can spare $20 from your budget, do $20 on your YouTube ads, on your Facebook ads, on whatever you can get your hands on. And even though it may not seem like much, it will build. So that is how to build from the ground up. Because right there you're already ahead of the game, because you're not going in the studio wasting 2 hours saying, I'm not really getting my part down, and then the 2 hours is over, and now you got to pay that $500 that you could have literally bought your own equipment with. So that's how much it's gonna cost to start you up. And then when it comes to actually getting to that level, the networking, you got to reach out and make yourself available to people and make yourself valuable. So if you got something of value, if you're really good at mixing, like sometimes you got to do it for free for a couple months or a couple years. So it's really just you're spending money, but you're spending time as well. But whatever it takes to make it there, that's how much it costs. It's not really a like, oh, I got 100,000, because I know people. I literally know artists that put 100,000 in they career and it did nothing for them. So it's all about how you do it.
Absolutely. Uh, for yourself, starting in the church, starting in the marching band, and taking off like you have been in this music industry for seven plus years, and looking back at it, when you look at people who are currently maybe watching this broadcast, and I want you to close with this. When someone says, I got a dream, I want to make it, I want you to speak to them, tell them like what are some things that we have to sort of speak to ourselves. Because like you said, for instance, you've been posting a while. I've been
Yes.
doing this for a while. No one just all of a sudden it just came to me overnight. And I became an overnight success after doing this for like a week. You've been doing this for quite some time. There's a lot of trial and error. So
Yes.
I want you to encourage those. Tell them why. First, hey, why they should be following you, getting connected with Mr. KRich. Definitely on Instagram, Mr. KRich. Definitely get connect with him today. But why should they push forward? 'Cause I know a lot of people talk about I want to be successful, but they're not really understanding um what was needed, what encouragement they need. So the floor is yours
Yes,
to
sir.
encourage and tell the people what they need to do to be on top of the world.
Something I didn't really touch on is how my story started and how it's going and where it's going to end. My story is I allow myself to get within my mind and tell myself that I don't fit into gospel music because my vocals aren't as incredible as Fred Hammond or Dietrich Haddon or all of these guys, that are incredible. So I allow, because a lot of people don't believe in God, but I do. I believe in Jesus. So a lot of people don't understand that comparison is one of the things that can literally just put you at a standstill in your career if you compare yourself. I spent 7 years trying to do everything else but what I was really called to do. So even in a documentary, like the thing that I love about my documentary is that it's really real. Like you see me in the studio with some guys that's cursing and all types of stuff and all of the things that, are frowned upon in the church. But at the end of the documentary, you start to see the change that's starting to happen. And that was right before I realized, man, you know, God has really called me to do something musically that may have not been done before, but using my voice because it's the voice that He gave me. And getting to the point where what you were asking about, a lot of times we get bogged down in comparison because we're looking at this person got the new AP and the new Rolls Royce, and they got all of this money, and they got, all of the things that we desire so bad, but you don't know how much work they put in. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we're not ready to get what we're asking for. We have to go through the process because when you ask for something, even the people that believe in the universe and not God, when you ask the universe for something, it's not just going to drop in your lap. There is a process to go through. And when you are going through that process, you're going to have a lot of different emotions. And a lot of times you're going to feel like, I need to just quit. Like, this isn't for me. And when you get to that place, remember what you wanted to do it for in the beginning. If it was something like your family, or if it was like, I want to see my mom own a house, I want to buy my mom a house, or whatever was the inspiration that started you and started the passion in you, you have to remember that and constantly go back to that and speak positive things over yourself. Like, man, I am going to make it. Like, even though I only have 500 listeners on this one song, and the other guy I see next to me has 200 million. I'm happy with the 500 because I could have zero. It's always about taking your halfway there type thing. You never know what may happen tomorrow, and you have to remember that. You have to literally remember that it only takes one time being right. If you're right one time, it can literally change your life, but that it may take you 20 years to get to that one time. And a lot of people don't understand. And a lot of people feel like, man, you know what I'm saying? It's just too long. But it's like anything worth having is worth fighting for, is worth going towards. So when you get to that point and you feel like you need a motivator, see yourself where you want to be and then go for it. Like, see yourself, you know what? I may not have $1 in my account right now, but I can see myself, going to the bank and pulling out the money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff is speaking things into existence. You know what I'm saying? Your words are very powerful. So always talk positive and talk like you're already there to yourself. That is what is going to get you to the next level. Because me, I got a lot of things that I want to do. I got a lot of things that I see. And I be scared to tell people because I feel like they're not gonna understand. That's another thing. You got to make sure the people around you is strong and imaginative like you. You have to make sure that who you're giving your dreams to is actually feeding that and trying to help you get there as well. You can't be around people that's like, bruh, you ain't gonna do that, bro. Like, as soon as somebody say that to you, you should know that's probably not the right friend for you. You know what I'm saying? You should have a friend that's like, you know what? How do you plan to do that? And let's figure this out. You know what I'm saying? You need people that are actually holding you up on their shoulders, you know what I'm saying, to get to where you're trying to reach. So to encourage everybody, one, I'm gonna just tell you straight up, whatever you're trying to go for, man, you can do anything in this world, man. I believe you can do anything with Christ, bro. But you can do anything in this world if you really put your mind to it and you forget about how long it's taking you. You know what I'm saying? Forget about time because you got a lot of time. If you're in your 20s, it may not feel like it because the world make you feel like it isn't, but you got a lot of time. You got a lot of time, bro. A lot of your famous designers, and you know, everybody wear designer clothes now. A lot of them didn't even get their break until they were in their 50s. Like, it's crazy. You got a lot of time. So just be encouraged, man. Just, keep positive people around you and you will reach wherever you're trying to go.
Amen. You heard it first. Very first, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. KRich. Hey, it takes one time to get it right. Let's go
Yes,
one
sir.
time for this broadcast to take it to the whole other level. We thank you for coming to Logan Power Show. We thank y'all for watching. Hey, it's all the time I got. My name is Calvin of the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. We love you. See you soon.
Yes.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.